The title says biggest Minecraft update. You know what you clicked on this video for, I know what you clicked on this video for, so let's get right into the Caves and Cliffs update. The Caves and Cliffs update was definitely the biggest Minecraft update we've ever had. The difference is noticeable the moment you launch up a game in 1.17. Just look around and, what? Where are the cliffs? Where are the caves? This is the same as everything else before. Okay, so, I found out two pretty important things. When I say the Caves and Cliffs update is the biggest update, technically I'm wrong. As it turns out, the Caves and Cliffs update was actually split into two separate updates, 1.17 and 1.18. If you count them as two entirely unique updates, I lied to you. But if you consider that 1.17 and 1.18 are part 1 and part 2 of a single update, technically I'm even more correct, as it's technically one update with multiple updates worth of content. I'm gonna act like I was right and this was planned, and we'll go on like normal. 1.17 was the first part of the Caves and Cliffs update, and it added the bulk of the content changes. That's to say items, mobs, biomes, reworked mechanics, and so on. Two of the most interesting of these content additions were the two new cave biomes, the dripstone caves and the lush caves. Dripstone caves don't offer much in terms of mechanics, but it looks amazing and the dripstone blocks can be surprisingly used in building. Not a ton, but it works with browns and oranges. The pointed dripstone blocks actually do have a use due to their falling property and the fact that you take extra fall damage if you fall on them. You can do a lot of damage in pitfall traps, or they can be used effectively as anvils. The other cave, the lush cave, is just as picturesque. It's a bright foliage-filled cave with lots of water and clay. You can also find glow berries on vines around the cave, which can be eaten, though they're pretty terrible food. This cave type also has moss and a bunch of other interesting decor blocks. One way you can find the lush caves is by looking for an azalea tree on the surface. It'll spawn above the cave, so if you dig directly down from it, you'll find the lush cave. This biome also has a good chance of spawning axolotls. They're chill little guys who don't do much, but they do automatically hunt fish and other water animals, including the glow squid. You can use the axolotls to farm glow squids for their glow ink sacs, which can be used to make neon signs. Back to the axolotl, another interesting mechanic to them is the extremely rare chance to get a blue axolotl. They don't do anything different, but they look nice, so that's pretty cool. The final two additions to caves are the amethyst geodes and the glow lichen. The glow lichen is just a vine that glows, doesn't really do anything, but you know. The amethyst geode can be found basically anywhere in caves. Amethyst itself, along with the blocks that surround it, are just decoration, but inside the geode you can find budding amethyst, which slowly forms amethyst clusters. These amethyst clusters can be turned into spyglasses or tinted glass. Tinted glass has the benefit of not allowing any light through it. This update also added copper, a new ore that is mostly used for decoration, but has a few niche uses like spyglasses and lightning rods. The copper blocks themselves have a mechanic where over time they will slowly oxidize. When I say slowly, I do mean slowly. It takes on average 66 Minecraft days for a placed copper block to oxidize. Oxidized copper is a nice turquoise/green color that fits really nicely into a lot of builds. If you want to keep the orange version of copper or any of the intermediate oxidization stages, you can wax them with beeswax. Using an axe on the copper will also get rid of the wax and will deoxidize the copper. I should also mention that while there's no copper tools or armor in 1.17, they did recently add copper tools and armor in 1.21.9. They're a bit worse than iron, but better than stone. Related to ores is the most controversial part of this update, the raw ore items. Ever since 1.17, you no longer get full iron or gold blocks from mining them. Instead, you need silk touch to get a full ore block, and normal pickaxes will have them drop raw iron, copper, and gold. Similar to how diamonds, redstone, and lapis all drop as their items, not the ore that they come from. These raw ore items still need to be smelted, but due to them being items instead of blocks, Fortune actually works on them now, unlike before. It can seem jarring at first, but I'm not gonna lie, getting a full block from ore without silk touch feels really weird to me now. You can also combine 9 of the raw ore items into raw ore blocks. These don't really do anything, but surprisingly they work well in builds. Moving out of the caves and onto the cliffs, we have the goat. The goat is a new passive mob who lives high in the mountains. They can jump high and they'll even ram into you if you're close by for too long. If you move out of the way and they ram into a natural stone block instead, they'll actually drop their horn. Though while recording footage for this video, I found out the hard way that this takes a while. I have been sitting here for 20 minutes and this stupid goat just won't do it. It's actually so annoying, dude. Oh my god. Why does it take so long? It's so stupid. Using the horn plays a loud sound with a number of different versions. The cliffs also have a new block, powdered snow. You can find it in snowy taigas or other snowy places, and it acts effectively as a snowy quicksand. You sink into it, and if you sit in it for too long, you'll take freezing damage. You can avoid it with leather boots if you're worried about it. There are two more important things in this update: lava cauldrons and lightning rods. Lava being able to go in cauldrons is important because dripstone can actually fill up cauldrons if there's a liquid above it. This means that if you place a lava, a block, dripstone, and then a cauldron below it all, you'll get an infinite lava source. As far as I'm aware, that's the only way to get renewable lava in the game. Lightning rods are made with the new copper bars. They redirect lightning to themselves, which by itself isn't very useful, but it can be useful for striking mobs with lightning to transform them. Nothing revolutionary, but it certainly is interesting. That is mostly it for the 1.17 section of this update. There are a few stragglers, like being able to duplicate shulkers by baiting a shulker shot into themselves, or, for instance, mine carts can work underwater along with rails not being destroyed by water, but for the most part that's it. So without further ado, let's move on to 1.18. The first most notable change in the 1.18 section of this update is the enhanced terrain. The mountains extend into the sky, helped by the new expanded upper world border. You can now build all the way up to y equals 300. To be honest, there's not a lot to say about the generation that you can't see. While I give you a moment to look at this beautiful terrain, I ask that you please consider liking and subscribing. This content is really fun to make, and I'd really love to see that support, to see that people really do want to watch these videos. Okay, that is it for the cliff section of the 1.18 update. Honestly, the new terrain is just insane, and I don't think this update would be the biggest update in Minecraft if it weren't for the terrain generation. But yeah, that's it. I feel like I'm forgetting something. The Deep Dark rests far below the mountains. The main gimmick behind the Deep Dark is sound. Around the biome you'll find these dark blue skulk blocks, along with skulk sensors. The skulk sensors will listen for sound and will activate if they hear any. They'll make a noise as well to notify other nearby skulk sensors. The biggest worry is if you accidentally notify a skulk shrieker. A skulk shrieker gives you 2 warnings to run away before it activates on the 3rd noise you make and summons the warden. The warden is the physically strongest enemy in the game, being able to 2-shot someone with full diamond. It can't see, but it's incredibly good at hearing and can sniff you out if you're too close. The skulk sensors, skulk shrieker and the warden, can all hear your block breaking, block placing, walking, and a number of other noises. Killing the warden gives you a skulk catalyst. If something dies near the skulk catalyst, it'll spread the skulk and take over the surrounding area. These skulk catalysts can spawn skulk sensors and skulk shriekers, but these shriekers cannot spawn wardens. Breaking skulk will also give you XP, but it really isn't that much. If you're finding a bunch of skulk in your caves, there's a good chance there's also an ancient city nearby. Ancient cities are massive cities filled with skulk-related structures. You can find some really good loot in them, but the skulk shriekers swarming the place make it hard to explore without them summoning a warden. And don't think of just boxing yourself or the warden in. They've thought of that. Skulk sensors are actually really useful for a lot of things. They give off redstone signals, so you can use them for all sorts of redstone contraptions. You can even combine them with amethyst to create a calibrated skulk sensor, which only looks for specific sounds. Okay, pause. I lied. I'm sorry, it's just so easy to lie all the time. The truth is, all of the skulk stuff I just talked about was not actually in this update. You might have noticed at the very start of this section, I said that the version for this was 1.20. Not 1.18. I just completely lied to you, and I didn't realize until editing that this is not in the same update. That being said, it kind of is integral to the caves and this entire update as a whole. So, like, why don't we all just pretend like this never happened, just like with the last one, and we can pretend like I never lie. Thank you. Okay, now we're done with skulk stuff. There's just one more thing to mention with the caves, and that is the ore distribution. It got drastic overhauls with this update. As you can see by this chart, the ore distribution is a lot more dynamic than it used to be. The only two ores that are at the most common at the bottom of the world are now redstone and diamonds. Before, literally every ore was besides copper. This range is extremely varied and a big part of why I personally advocate for spelunking instead of strip mining. Strip mining can still get you the ores you want, but spelunking with these giant caves gives you a fairly interesting and dynamic experience while still having a fairly high chance of finding the ores that you want, including pretty much every type of ore. Also added in this update are gigantic copper and iron veins. These can span up to 50 blocks in the world and give you an insane amount of iron. Oh, also do note the asterisk at the bottom right, which notes that diamonds, lapis, gold, and sometimes coal are all less common when exposed to an air block. This is to more so equalize spelunking and strip mining, as spelunking allows you to scan a much larger number of blocks at once than spelunking does. Though this also has the side effect of making it a lot easier to find diamonds underwater, as long as you have the methods of staying down there for a long time. That's it. That's the video. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I'm going to be doing more videos like these, different updates. If you want to see like a specific update, you can let me know in the comments, or like a specific aspect of the game, maybe like speedrunning or something. Like, I think that'd be an interesting video. But yeah, I'll be experimenting. I'll be making new videos. So like and subscribe to see those. But for now, that's it.